Hey, welcome to another video. So today we're going to be going into when Vader actually meets Padme's body double, Sabe. But before we begin, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, during the Galactic Civil War, sometime after the duel in Cloud City in 3 ABY, Sabe and her team were in a base on Vendaxa when the facility was breached by the local Vendaxan land squids. Her team was swiftly massacred by the creatures. The last of Sabe's soldiers, a Gungan, requested that she evacuate the base. Sabe refused, as she did not want to leave without the crew, and as such, had to watch as the Gungan soldier was also killed by the land squids. When it seemed as though Sabe would be overrun, a dark figure entered the facility with a lightsaber in hand. The man dressed in black used his lightsaber to make quick work of the land squids, clearing the immediate vicinity of the creatures. Upon seeing Sabe, the man spoke the name Padme in disbelief. Sabe, who had had her blaster trained on the man, demanded to know who had just called her who he was. A forensics droid that was accompanying the man remarked on the resemblance between Sabe and the deceased Padme and introduced the man as Darth Vader, an agent of the Empire. In response to the revelation that the dark figure was a servant of Sidious, Sabe immediately fired on Vader. However, the Sith Lord merely deflected the laser with the Force and telekinetically disarmed Sabe, leaving her defenseless against him. Vader inquired the identity of Sabe, who informed Vader that she was in fact Padme, back to haunt him from the grave. Angered by Sabe's response, Vader used the Force to lift and choke the rebel. However, after a short while, Vader, who was secretly Anakin Skywalker, released her after experiencing memories of his deceased wife. Sabe grasped her blaster and fled deeper into the facility, where the land squids still remained. When Vader followed, the squids attacked him, although he was still able to defeat them with relative ease. Hoping that the land squids could defeat Vader with enough numbers, Sabe opened a gate in the facility that led to the main nest. Vader soon caught up with her and used the Force to prevent her from escaping. Vader again demanded to know Sabe's true identity, assuring her that she didn't have to be afraid of him. Once again, Sabe avoided the question, simply telling Vader that she was angry and not afraid. Fortunately for her, Vader came to the realization that Sabe must have been Padme's former handmaiden. With this new information, the forensic droid accompanying Vader managed to identify her as Sabe. Vader asked why she had broken into Padme's apartment on Coruscant years ago, and what she had learned from the investigation. Sabe asked Vader what kind of game he was playing, as she was under the impression that the Emperor had Padme killed. The droid took note of the fact that Sabe was not entirely sure if her accusation towards the Emperor was even true or not, and introduced himself as Z67. As the droid began to ramble, Vader ordered him to stay silent and revealed to Sabe that someone had stolen Padme away shortly before her death, and that the person responsible was considered an enemy of the Empire. Vader asked Sabe to join his investigation into Padme's death, as he knew that she too wanted revenge against those responsible for the Senator's premature demise. Sabe, seeing a Vendaxan land squid approaching Vader from the open gate, blasted the squid and agreed to help him. Sabe and Vader then fought side by side against the massive land squids emanating from the main nest. After every squid was dead, Vader complimented Sabe on her fighting skills and urged her to follow him. As they exited the facility, Vader informed the Death Troopers waiting outside that they would leave the planet immediately. However, Sabe refused, as she wished to bury the corpses of her deceased crew before leaving. Vader allowed it, and tasked Z67 with assisting her at Sabe's behest. After the burial was completed, Sabe solemnly remarked that they had been good soldiers, who had walked with her during Padme's funeral. She then remarked to Vader and the other Imperials that it was time to leave, and boarded Vader's shuttle. On the shuttle, Sabe informed Vader that she and her allies had indeed broken into Padme's apartment after the funeral, and stolen the chamber's security recordings, although she was never able to decrypt them, and so she hid them on Naboo. Upon their arrival on Naboo, Sabe led Vader to the Nibiru Lake retreat. As soon as they stepped foot inside, Captains Tonra and Typho began to shoot at Vader. Sabe quickly talked everyone down, introducing Vader to her allies. then chided them for shooting, since she had given the all-clear signal prior to entering. Typho said they had assumed she was under duress. Sabe informed Vader that he needed Tonra and Typho if he was going to get the security recording, because she had given it to them to hide once it became clear they couldn't decrypt it. The captains led them downstairs to a room with a parked submarine, and together they set off to retrieve the recording. As they went through Naboo's waters, Z67 and Vader questioned the men on their time serving Padme. Tonra revealed that he and Sabe had sent someone undercover to Tatooine, where they tried and failed to retrieve Anakin Skywalker's mother. Sabe described the failure as the greatest shame of her life. Soon after, the submarine was attacked by a hollow clawfish, which cracked open its hull. Luckily, the group was near enough to their destination, a hydrostatic bubble, to swim the rest of the way. Once inside, Sabe pointed out a mural depicting the celebration after the Battle of Naboo, and told Vader that Skywalker, included in the picture, had served Padme from his childhood until his disappearance after her death, and that she and her comrades mourned his loss along with Padme. When Vader became impatient and demanded the security recording, Tonra handed the recording device over. Though at first it showed footage of Padme's apartment, it quickly switched to a recording of Sabe, Tonra, Typho, and others, as she declared the formation of the Amidalans, and together they swore to find whoever murdered Padme and kill them. The three Amidalans revealed that because the last time Typho saw Padme, she was headed to Mustafar, and Mustafar was Vader's base. They had come to the conclusion that he had killed both Padme and Anakin. Vader confirmed that he had, and on Typho's signal, Tonra blasted a beast caller. In response, a massive Sando Aqua monster appeared and attacked the bubble. As the Aqua monster attempted to break through the bubble, Typho and Tonra began blasting Vader. Sabe noted that they already knew he could deflect direct blaster bolts. They would need to get more creative to beat him. So saying, she turned her blaster on the rock promontory Vader stood on. As it crumbled away beneath him, he fell from the hydrostatic bubble and into the beast's jaws. Sabe then met up with Irrite, Sashay, Rabe, and Dorme and Theed. They were in place at Padme's tomb in time to intercept Vader. Vader was accompanied by Z67, who identified the other handmaidens, causing Vader to experience flashbacks from his shared past with them. Vader paused for a moment before he told them to leave if they did not want to be killed. They chose instead to attack him. They held their own briefly, but after he was overwhelmed by visions of Padme, ended up force-choking them, then simply threw the former handmaidens away from him, leaving only Sabe at the tomb entrance. Sabe proceeded into the tomb with Vader. Despite her horrified protests, he approached Padme's coffin and began to move it with the Force. When he relented, Z67 scanned the coffin. They found a med implant where the droid traced to Polis Massa. Sabe rejoined the other former handmaidens outside the tomb and hailed the rest of the Amidalans to pass on these new coordinates. Prompted by Z67, one of the Death Troopers who had come with Vader prepared to shoot at the Amidalans. Vader put a stop to it and exhorted Sabe to bring her comrades to meet him at Polis Massa. The Amidalans arrived with a fleet of ships and once more attempted to confront Vader. Their ships proved an obstacle as Vader attempted to reach the medical facility there, but he drew their fire and gave the Death Troopers enough time to fire on the larger ships and bring one crashing down. Vader fought his way through and ultimately escaped the Amidalans unscathed. After Vader returned to the Imperial Palace on Coruscant to answer his master's summons, Darth Sidious repeatedly struck him with Force lightning, while Grand Vizier Mas Amedda spoke on the Emperor's behalf, condemning Vader for his failure to turn Luke Skywalker to the dark side and his failure to kill Sabe. Mas Amedda judged these actions to be treasonous and punishable by death. As Sidious choked Vader with the Force, Vader remembered doing the same to Sabe, Padme, and other people. So what do you guys think of Vader's first encounter with Sabe, and should I continue covering his future encounters? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.